First, remember we're looking at loading the data set. And basically we're using two libraries. We're going to import pandas as PD and import numpy as MP. Pandas is an important library, a Python library for tabular data handling, and numpy is for numerical computing. So when we import this library, we use it this way. Now, if you don't have pandas already installed, you have to pip install pandas and also numpy. Otherwise, it will give you, the code will give you an error. You have an error with your codes. Okay, so the df, okay, df pd.read_csv, okay, calls out the data set we're working with. The data set is in the same folder with this Python file saved as import.py. Okay, so the df.head shows the first 5 rows. Okay, so if we run the program, okay, to run the program we'll go to our terminal, okay, terminal here, and we'll say python import.py, because that's the Python file, okay, and it shows us the first 5 rows. Okay, it shows us the first 5 rows of the data set. Now, another important thing we must do is to look at the shape of the data set. Okay, we could do that using the df.shape. Okay, now how do we use it? Now, to use that, we'll just say let's have our rows, comma, columns, let it be equal to df.shape, the data frame shape. Okay, so how can we get the shape? We'll now say print rows, and we'll also say print column. This would print out the shape of the data set that we are working with. So if we go ahead to say python import.py again, we would have it all spelled out here. We have 1,020 rows and 10 columns to work with the data set. Okay, another important thing we should do is to inspect all of the column names. Now, we could do that from here. You know, we do not need to open. As professional data scientists, we could do everything we want to do with Python programming. Okay, so we can say df.columns. Now, how do we do that? Now, simply we could just say to examine the column name. Okay, we could say print df.columns.toList. So this function here prints the headers of each column. So if we run the code again as well, we would have it all spelled out. We have patient ID, age, gender, chest pain type, resting BP, and every other header for the data set. Okay, now we also need to identify features and target variable, you know, for the sake of moving further into machine learning. Okay, you see our feature X input is used for prediction. In this case, you know, our data is talking about heart patients. It's talking about majorly the heart of patients. So if you think about the heart of patients, our major concern would definitely be based on heart disease. Okay, so if we're looking at heart disease as our target, that would be why. Okay, I will explain that later. Okay, just know that heart disease will be our target because we're looking at heart patients. Okay, and also every other input apart from the heart disease will be used for prediction. Okay, inputs like age, like we have here, age, okay, cholesterol, um, 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 chest pain type, okay, and every other one will be used for as input for prediction. That would be as feature X. Okay, I will explain that later when we go deeper into machine learning. Now for Y, that will be our main what we want to predict, which is the heart disease. The heart disease there is also a column. Okay. All right. Another important thing we'll do is also to inspect data types. We need to inspect data types. Now this is extremely important because wrong data type gives bad analysis. Example, age should be numeric. We need to check and be sure that all of the ages are numeric, okay, by using df.d types, okay. So if we check through, we should be able to know if there are any irregularities with the headers and the values in each rows. Okay, so I think at this point I would end this lesson. So we'll continue from here and we'll dive deeper into applied data science. Thank you.